Hey, what's going on, you guys? Bring your friends here. Today I wanted to make a short video on a possible build that I'm going to be running in the open beta on Tuesday for Virtuoso. It's essentially, I'm trying to make a possible side note out of this just because there was a few things that caught my eye. The first one was that Psychic Riposte, blocking or dodging an attack, stocks a blade and shoots a blade at your attacker, combined with Deceptive Evasion and Signet of the Ether. So with all of this combined with, like, say, Avatar Amulet, for example, you can make a quite a bit of combinations to where it just shoots up your sustain to like an extremely high level. Like going into the rest of the build, you got obviously Desperate Decoy, you got the Reflect on Dodge, you got Sympathetic Visage, I believe this is, which is clear Condi on when you summon a Phantasm. Obviously, Restorative Illusions is going to be playing a big role in your sustain, and obviously Illusionary Inspiration. So Illusionary Inspiration, 220 healing, and then Deceptive Evasion combined with Signet of the Ether is going to add up to quite a bit of sustain. So here I made a few examples of how much you'd essentially be getting back. So with Psychic Riposte plus Deceptive Evasion plus Illusionary Inspiration and Signet of the Ether, essentially it double procs because blocking or dodging grants an illusion. Create an illusion when you dodge with Deceptive, so you're going to get double Illusionary Inspiration, double the Signet of the Ether. So every time you successfully but I can't talk. Every time you successfully dodge, you get 1,130 health. Next example is Blade Renewal. Channel to gain distortion, stock up to the maximum number of blades, which is 5. So you take Illusionary Inspiration and Signet of the Ether. So these 2 times 5 equals up to 2,000 health. And then another one, your F4 Shatter, the Blade Turn Requiem. You take that plus Psychic Riposte, Illusionary Inspiration, Signet of the Ether, 1695 healing if you block 1 attack per second. So that's the one that gives you a 3-second block duration. And the reason why it's 1 attack per second is because of the Psychic Riposte as a 1-second ICD. So you can only get that much healing out of it. And then the last one, which is the biggest one, but obviously adds up to quite a bit of sustain. So you use your Blade Renewal to get the max number of blades. Use your F4 block, which you trigger by also get 1286 because of Restorative Illusions on a full 5 blade shatter. And then you add in Illusionary Inspiration, Signet of the Ether, and then Psychic Riposte. Gets up to 4,111 healing, up to 5,806 healing if you block 1 attack per second for 3 seconds after you trigger your Blade Turn Requiem F4 ability. Obviously, I need to space that. Don't judge me. So, I mean, these are just a few examples of ways you would get sustained, but doing this without using your heal adds up to a lot of self-sustain on your character. So the only thing I can really think of that this would fit a role in uh, is a side noter, just because with Avatar, you obviously need that to get these healing numbers. You're not going to be doing too much damage, but you can essentially stay on a node for quite a long period of time, do some decent damage until you get +1. In terms of the weapons, I chose Dagger, Focus, Staff. You could swap Dagger out for Sword. Dagger doesn't really do too much. I mean, obviously I have not played the class yet and tried it out, but just in terms of the actual weapon abilities themselves, if you're going to be fighting on the node, uh, Dagger isn't really going to be that much of a benefit for the most part. I mean, I could just as easily run Sword, playing a side node build, and get more value out of Blurred Frenzy and the Amoeb than I can theoretically see with Dagger. So this isn't for sure yet, but I mean, Sword is probably looking at a better option than Dagger at the moment. Staff is a no-brainer just because of the fact of Chaos Storm. So in Virtuoso's tree, Aegis is king. So as long as you can proc Aegis, that equals a blade, and blades are essentially clones, and clones equal regen with this build. So every time you blocking or dodging stocks a blade, and then you can get the healing from Illusionary Inspiration and Signet of the Ether. So every time you pop Aegis and you block, you get a blade and you heal. So obviously Staff is huge for that. And with Staff you get, you know, the protection, the regen, the swiftness, you know, all that good stuff. It's a defensive weapon, typically known for holding a node. I mean, you can use it for other things as well, but in this case, Chaos Storm is the bread and butter for the reason of picking Staff. I mean, you could just as easily go with Offhand Sword, but you could really luck out with Staff and get like multiple Aegis procs within the same Chaos Storm. So 1 Aegis, 2 Aegis. I mean, there have been a few times where I've actually gotten like 4 procs of Aegis in a row, so that would equal up to 4 blades if, you know, somebody would hit me while I had Aegis up. So Staff, I think, is definitely a no-brainer. The other pick, obviously, you could use Sword for this and just as easily get away with it. The traits are pretty mandatory. Blade Turn Refrain, Blade Songs grant Aegis, needs to be there. Blocking or dodging grant spoons. Now this one I think is really important just because all the shatters have cast times, so Duelist Reversal is going to be pretty big in lowering down your window to be interrupted while you're casting your shatters. And then obviously Psychic Riposte is pretty mandatory for the build. Blocking or dodging an attack stocks a blade and shoots a blade at the attacker. So we're more concerned with Psychic Riposte than we are Riposting Blade. I mean, Riposting Blade is just kind of a bonus in terms of damage. But yeah. And then obviously the rest, as I said, Desperate Decoy, the Reflect, Deceptive Evasion is key, and Illusionary Inspiration is key just because those are the 2 main sources of your sustain. In terms of your Conti Clear, you do have Restorative Illusions and Sympathetic Visage. So 2 decent sources of clear. You got clear on Shatter and you got clear on Phantasm Summon. And then you also have clear on your double Sigil of Cleansing, double Sigil of Energy. Doliac Runes, which regenerates health every second, which adds into the sustain. So I think it's 31 health per second with this amulet. So if we throw up calculator, that's 31 times 30 seconds, that's 930 over a minute, that's 860 health that you would get back from Doliac Runes, so it definitely adds up. So I mean, if this is the defensive option, you can always throw something more offensive in there if you wanted to do more damage. And then the only thing we haven't really talked about is 1000 Cuts and the utilities. Obviously Signet of the Ether is mandatory for this build just because it synergizes so well with Deceptive Evasion and Illusionary Inspiration. Your Signet of Illusions is pretty mandatory as well just because of your F4 granting so much sustain. Just Blade Turn Requiem, popping it twice, adds up to quite a bit of healing. And obviously after using Blade Renewal, since adds up to this. So I think Signet of the Ether, Signet of Illusions are pretty mandatory. You could give up Blink, but I'd imagine you're going to get decapped a lot if you're playing the Sidenoder role. And then, what is this ability called again? I forget. I think it's Blade Renewal. Yeah, Blade Renewal I think is mandatory in the build, just because it grants Distortion, which is pseudo invulnerability to conditions, which is always nice. It stacks blades, which blades heal you, and you can use those stocked blades to heal yourself again through heal on Shatter. So yeah, I think this is going to be at least an interesting build to try when it comes to a possible side node Mesmer on Virtuoso. And then 1000 Cuts, I mean, it's not really... I would definitely try it. I'm not sure if it's going to be mandatory for the build in terms of Sidenoder. It's just straight up pump, which nothing wrong with that. But there's not really too many elite skills that Mesmer can do that would kind of fill this role. You could do Time Warp. Uh, you could do Mass Invis for whatever reason, but that would obviously give up the node. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you like, give it a like and share with your friends. And I will see you guys in the beta on Tuesday. Alright, peace out.